What's up, everybody? Welcome to Stranger Things Has Happened, Season 4, Chapter 2. I'm here with Kelly, as usual. How you doing, Kelly?
Hi, friends. And that's my bro Snooch. How you doing, Snooch?
I'm snooching.
Snooching.
I forget when we start this show that I'm the Brady.
Yeah, you're the Brady. That's right.
I completely forget every time that I'm supposed to talk. So I'm sitting here waiting for someone to start the show, and I'm like, oh, fuck, it's my job.
Where the hell is Brady?
I know. This motherfucker's supposed to be talking.
Damn it, Brady. He'll never watch this. He doesn't watch our show.
He doesn't. He's not good at stuff.
Quick shout out to Grave Reviews. They are recording tonight, which is Thursday night. We are recording, and they'll be on in a little bit. So everybody in the chat, if you weren't there in the live chat with me tonight, go catch the replay. They're reviewing a really good schlock movie called Swamp Zombies 2. And
oh gosh,
I know it's so bad. It's good. And Chris and I we met the writer, and he also plays a part in the show, and we met him, and he's a really good guy. So good job, Newt. Loved it.
Nice.
And because it is Thursday night, it is 6:18 Eastern. Beetlejuice trailer just dropped, and as you guys already know, like, Lydia is Joyce and Joyce is Lydia. So, oh my gosh, she looks so good.
She can't go both ways.
Well, she is and she did. So,
wow.
I can't wait. Is it September yet? So, yeah, I'm thinking.
I've had a thing for Winona Ryder since what? Heather's probably.
Since we were kids.
Yeah,
yeah.
Wow. So
yeah.
I'll watch her read the phone book probably.
Didn't we already watch her do that?
Yeah. And then Primus wrote that song about her, and I was like, I'm in.
Oh, Winona's Big Brown Beaver. Yeah, so tonight we're talking about season 4, chapter 2 of Stranger Things, Vecna's Curse. And just a reminder to everybody watching, please don't spoil it for us. This is our first watch journey, and if you've never watched Stranger Things, come along the journey with us. This is fantastic. So what are your initial thoughts?
I don't believe that the banking industry has our best interests at heart, and I think that we should make a run on Wall Street.
You're crossing the streams.
Oh, I thought you said what are my thoughts? That was one of my thoughts.
I have one thought, and it happened 12 seconds into this episode. Okay. And I was screaming, Hopper's alive! He's alive! Hopper's alive.
Hopper's kind of alive.
He's alive.
Maybe.
He's alive.
This movie or this episode shows him at 4 different times.
Yeah, and he's alive in all those 4 different times. He's a prisoner, but he's alive.
But those times take place before the now.
Only only a couple times took place before the now, because now we're now.
Yeah, but even at the point where he's getting yelled at by the prison guard.
Yeah.
It's still before now. Because technically it's implying that he's made friends with that prison guard and got a message to Joyce. So we don't know that Hopper's still alive. We know that he was.
I know he is. He better be. If he is not alive and I have to grieve him for a second time, this is going to suck.
Well, I tell you what, if I think he's dead again, I'm gonna be pissed because Walking Dead did that shit with Glenn, and all right, you know what? Fuck right off. That was when I stopped watching the show.
Oh, Glenn, he was such a dumpster fire.
If they Glenn Hopper, I'm out. I won't even finish. I'll just be like, well, fuck off.
I don't think the Duffer Brothers would do that to us.
I would hope that they wouldn't, after having seen what happened when they did that to Glenn, because people were like, deuces.
Yeah. Well, as long as they don't Tony Soprano him.
I never watched that show.
What?
What did they do to Tony Soprano?
Worst ending ever.
Okay,
they cut the camera.
They cut the camera.
Just cut the camera.
Oh.
That's what they did. That's how it ended.
While he was at the shrink?
No. Him and he took his family out to, I don't know, it was some deli. I can't remember the name of the deli. It's been 20 years, but they were at this little, deli diner eatery place.
Yeah.
And they cut the camera. So we never found out what happened to him.
Well, wasn't the assumption that he lived happily ever after?
Well, I don't know. Like, my assumption is, well, maybe he got whacked.
All right. That's fair.
Yeah, but we'll never know. And I hate not knowing. So, but we know about chapter 2, what happened. So
yep, that's it. Thanks for coming, guys.
Yay, bye. No. Chapter 2. The other thought that I got was all of these episodes, well, it's only been episode 1 and episode 2 have been like almost movie length, like an hour and a half long.
Yeah.
And I'm loving it. Like, I'm loving it. It's almost like we're getting like mini movies here. And I totally understand the story is so great. When this came out a couple summers ago, now I know why everybody binged it within the first couple of days it was out.
Right.
Phenomenal. So we start out with Hopper. Okay, we see Hopper. And we're back in season 3 when the Hadron Collider was about to explode and Hopper and Joyce are saving the world, and Hopper nods to Joyce and Joyce is crying and Joyce pulls the lever and everything blows up. We see from Hopper's point of view, everything goes black. And then he opens his eyes and we see the crack to the upside down. We see fire, we see flames, we see him lying on the floor, but he is most definitely alive. And then the opening credits happen. So, but that was enough for me. I texted Shanti, I texted Tina, and I'm like, Hopper's alive!
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, I texted my girls. My girls got my back, so.
That's great.
So after the opening credits, we see Max, and she wakes up suddenly. She goes right for her Tylenol. We hear sirens. We see all the cops surrounding Eddie's house. His uncle's home from work, and he's outside. 2 cops walk in. We're seeing flies. We see a glimpse of dead Chrissy. Max, she's outside now with her mom, and she's creeping up and she sees the dead body. The cop immediately tells her to get back in her trailer. The chief calls for backup because he doesn't know how her body could possibly look like that. And whoever he's talking to completely recorded it. So, it's probably military or lab or some shit at this point. We then flash over to an airport and a plane is landing. We see Argyle, the long-haired hippie dude, besties with Jonathan, who's also there. We see Will and Elle, and they're waiting for Mike. Mike has flowers for Elle. Will says, I have a really cool painting for you, and he kind of gets brushed to the side, which is like, oh.
I feel like Argyle is my favorite new character.
Oh my gosh. Argyle is fucking hilarious.
He's the most like somebody I would spend time with.
I know exactly who you're talking about, and yes. But don't worry, they never watch this show.
Right. Fuck that guy.
Fuck that guy. If you are watching this show and you know who you are, I didn't really mean for you to go get fucked. So
yeah, fuck him.
No, yeah, fuck him, but not really.
No, for sure, fuck him. Fuck that guy.
So Elle and Mike, they're arm in arm, and Elle is going over an itinerary. Argyle's making it awkward. They go outside and they start walking to Argyle's surfer van. And who do we see getting into a cab but Murray? So Murray's there to talk with Joyce. We flash over to Family Video Store. Robin and Steve are talking, and Robin's going over girl troubles about how she's talking to Vicky and it's going so good, and then it's not going so good, and why can't she just ask her out? She can't find the courage. Maybe they should combine themselves, which is really weird, but I can see where she was going with that, combining their personalities, because Steve is like, a male whore. He can ask anybody out. And then she wants to watch Dr. Zhivago, and she's talking Steve into it. And then they see the news briefing come over the TV about, Chrissy being dead. We immediately go over to Benny's Burgers, which was the diner in the first season.
Yeah. And I forgot all about that until that moment. I was like, oh my goodness, Benny's.
Benny's is the place where Elle first got served a burger because they found her wandering around the forest.
Yeah, and that was Hopper's best friend or something, wasn't it?
Yeah. So that place is all boarded up and deserted, but, it's a perfect place to have a party, especially after a basketball celebration. And we see people staggering out. They're still half drunk. And then we see Lucas throwing up, and he's all hungover. A typical teenage after party. There's cereal, there's empty beer cans all over the place. The news is trying to come over a fuzzy TV, and they're trying to play with rabbit ears. They don't know what's going on.
You remember that shit, having to pound on a TV to get it to work?
Yes. Pounding on the TV and holding the rabbit ears.
If you hit my $2,000 Samsung TV, we're going to fucking fight.
There's no way. There's no way nowadays. It's totally different now. So... And then somebody's like, oh, I thought we were going to watch Thundercats. And they're like, yeah, but the news is on every channel. Remember when that used to happen? Had 4 channels and the news is on every single one. And then a kid goes, maybe Chrissy didn't stand you up after all. And everybody's like, oh, that's a poor joke, because they knew like some kid from high school just died. And then the cops pull in and surround the diner. Then we skip over. We're not going to find out why yet. We're going to skip over to Nancy and her and the newspaper staff who are working on a Saturday morning during spring break. The interviewer on the news mentions how everything's gone to shit since Barb died. So that immediately perks into Nancy's brain. She's saying how the town is cursed and the devil lives here in Hawkins. And Nancy immediately has a flash of the Demogorgon going through her mind. And she goes to her nerd friend. She's like, you want to take a field trip? And he's like, yeah, let's go. We don't find out his name just yet, but we will. We will. So we go to the trailer park. But we're not going to find out what they do because we're at Dustin's house now, who's watching the news with Mommy. Dusty and Mommy. Max is banging at his door. Max tells him it's Chrissy who's dead. Eddie didn't do this. Dustin is absolutely certain that it wasn't Eddie. And Max is like, well, everybody thought that about Ted Bundy too. He was Mr. Nice Guy. And Dustin's like, why didn't she say anything to the cops? And Max is like, I don't know. After Eddie and Chrissy went in the trailer, her TV and her lights started flickering. She heard Eddie scream, and then he left, and she saw the look on his face, and he was scared shitless. They're both thinking that something else killed her. Is it impossible that something else killed her? No. Only one person knows what happened, and that would be Eddie. So Dustin and Max leave, despite mommy calling after them that it's not safe. And, Dustin's like, I'll be fine. Bye. Mm-hmm. Love you. Bye. Now we're going to hop over to Murray, who arrives at Joyce's house. Murray reads the note that they discussed on the phone that Joyce found inside that doll. Hopper is alive. No government. They don't want any government involved. Signed, Enzo. Murray's like, but you saw him die, Joyce. And Joyce is like, but we never saw a body, which is something that I always say in Star Wars, but we never saw a body.
Right.
Never saw a body.
Somehow Palpatine returned.
Yeah. And Murray's like, but he evaporated. And Joyce is like, or did he survive? And he thinks that he's Catman with 9 lives, and he was captured by the KGB and tortured, and knows his entire life story now, and it's a likely ruse to capture Joyce. Mm-hmm. And Joyce says, well, I prefer my theory. You have your thoughts, I have mine. My thoughts could be real. Only one way to find out. Once again, only one way to find out. Got to call the number.
Right. I had two weird thoughts. Mm-hmm. So was the collider thing that the Russians working on meant to be a portal between Hawkins and Russia? Like, were they trying to make a point where, like, at first I thought they had found a place that was thin and they could get into the Upside Down.
Yeah.
But the fact that he ended up in Russia made me think they were trying to create a wormhole.
I think what it is they tried to open the door in Russia, but it didn't work. And there's only one place where the door can be definitely opened, and that was in Hawkins.
Yeah, but how did he end up in Russia?
Because the KGB took him. The KGB found him afterwards.
See, the way I was looking at that was that explosion pushed him through a portal to Russia.
No, they showed the KGB guys finding him.
So they got him in the United States and then smuggled him out of the country and then interrogated him? Him?
Well, the Russians smuggled themselves into the United States. Nobody knew that they were working, below the mall.
Yeah, so it's easier to get yourself in and out than it is. But that's what we're going to find out that fishery is up in Alaska.
Yeah, in Nome, Alaska.
Anywho, and the other thing I was wondering is, like, these kids were playing D&D.
Yeah.
How much of that do we think is what opened the portal at the lab in the first place? I
think Elle opened the portal in the lab in the first place with her powers, because she didn't know what she was doing, and neither did Papa. Papa was all stupid. So yeah, he's behind a whole lot of shit.
Carry on.
All right. So we see the crack again, okay, because now we're flashing back to Hopper again. Hopper climbs a ladder, okay, because he's getting out of the pit. And that's when the KGB captures him. They beat him and they chained him from the ceiling. And then one guy's like, get the elephant, only it says it in Russian. And they untie him from the rafters and they chain him to a chair now, and they put on like this gas mask with the long hose, and they start kinking it. Like now they're torturing him. They're kinking it so that he can't get any air whatsoever. And you see him spasming, which is like, oh, you motherfuckers, leave Hopper alone.
That's not how I thought about that at all. But okay, carry on.
Yeah. Well, that's, Hopper. Ooh. Hopper. Anyway, we're at the Wrinklemania now, okay? Argyle and Jonathan drop off Elle, Will, and Mike, and Jonathan tells Will to be back at 6, okay? Now we start hearing songs, like the best 80s songs. Now we go right into You Spin Me Right Round, or You Spin Me Round, like a record, baby, right round, round, round.
I do know.
Yes, by Dead or Alive.
I very much enjoy that song.
I did too. So they start skating. There's kids playing air hockey. There's kids playing pinball. All the best stuff of the 80s. There's a snack bar, and there's the skate rentals. They get socks. Mike forgets his socks. He needs to go get socks. So when he goes and gets his socks, Will calls Elle out for lying to Mike about everything. Like, Will's like, why are you lying to him and saying that you have all these friends and you're having such a good time? Like, don't lie to him,
Right.
And Elle's like, oh, she feels bad for 2 seconds. And then Mike comes back and she's back to fake Elle again. Will, he's just looking like a third wheel. And I wrote that down before I saw, what we'll get to later about how he stands up to Mike. And then we hear Rock Me Amadeus by Falco. And fucking Angela shows up. That bitch. She shows up. But we're not going to find anything out yet because we're back at Benny's Burgers. Okay. Lucas is silently freaking out. He thinks that they're all in trouble for partying. The cops are questioning the captain of the basketball team, whose name we'll find out in just a couple minutes. He's like, are you gonna arrest me for drinking? Like, asshole kid. And the cops are like, we could arrest you for trespassing. I'm sure Benny's family would love to know that you're partying in here.
Right. And
he's like, so Chrissy, what's up with Chrissy? Where's the last time you saw her? And he's like, what do you mean? She said she'd meet me here and then she didn't. And they're like, yeah, did you send her to go buy drugs for your party? And he's like, Chrissy would never do drugs.
Right.
She's completely against drugs. Was Eddie talking to her? That freak Eddie? What does Eddie have to do with this? Did he hurt Chrissy? And Jason, who's the jock capital captain of the basketball team, he storms out. He marches over to the woods and he starts screaming and crying because he finds out that Chrissy is the one who was murdered on the TV.
I struggled with that for sure.
Yeah.
Just like the him being up in his own head the way he has been, like him going out and having that moment by himself where he freaks out.
Yeah.
As much of a bitch as he's been the last 2 episodes, he would have done that in front of everybody so they could see him. But anyway, carry on.
Yeah.
I don't like that guy already.
I don't like him either. He's such a fucking asshole.
I hope a Demogorgon eats his face.
Oh, I'd love that. I want to see that. Anyway, so Dustin and Mike go over to the video store because Dustin needs to talk to his bestie Steve and Robin, who are watching the news, and they're like, "Did you guys watch this?" And Dustin's like, "All business. How many phones do you have?" And Steve's like, "But how many phones do you have?" And he's like, 2. And Robin's like, "Yeah, but there's one in the back room. The boss Dustin throws his backpack over the counter. He does like a Dukes of Hazzard slide over to the other side, with Steve bitching about the videos and Robin bitching that this is Saturday. You guys can't do this today. This is our busiest day.
Not on Rex Manning Day.
Which is coming up in a couple weeks, by the way. Dustin starts setting up the base of operations from the cashier computer, okay? He's loading all of Eddie's friends with their phone numbers. Robin's, oh yeah, she's still bitching that it's the busiest day of the week. And Dustin asks Max to fill them in. So while they're talking, we're in Nancy's shaggin' wagon now with her nerd friend, and we find out his name in just a minute too. She starts asking he starts asking Nancy for details on her relationship with Jonathan, okay? Nancy doesn't really want to talk to him, except that she's annoyed that Jonathan did not come. She puts that little nerd in his place. There's a cop outside Eddie's trailer. That's where they drove to. Nancy tries to use Max as an excuse that, she needs to check on her. Her mom's not home, yada, yada. Cop buys it. And then, the cop looks at Fred, okay, Fred Benson, and says, do I know you? You're Fred Benson.
I don't remember
the kid last year.
I don't remember the whole thing with Fred Benson.
What, the one today?
Yeah, the kid. No, the kid that he supposedly killed and the circumstances of that.
I don't think we ever saw that.
Okay.
Yeah, because I know I never saw that. So that must have happened like while everything else was going around. But he starts flashing into this weird back and forth in his head.
Mm-hmm.
His scar from the crash starts bleeding. Fred sees the cop's face warp in and out like a monster. The cop starts telling him that he's a murderer. You're a murderer. That's what you are, a murderer. And Freddie's like, oh, it was an accident. And he's repeating murderer over and over again. And the claws are like on the monster cop's face. Like these claws start stretching over his face. And then we're all normal. And the cop's like, are you all right? You look peaked. And Freddie's fine. Cop tells Nancy to go check on her friend and be fast. Nancy goes to Freddie like, what the fuck was that? And Freddie's just like, oh, I'm sorry. So like weird. So Freddie's got a history. So
that whole thing was super weird.
That was weird. But it was like cool. But it was
I feel like we should have understood it because it ain't like Freddie stays around.
Yeah. Well, good. Because he annoys me. He just annoys me. Last episode, he annoyed me. So, what's with you and Jonathan? Like, shut up, Freddie. You don't have a chance with Nancy.
Right.
Whatever. And we go from Freddie and Nancy over to Argyle and Jonathan, who are playing golf in a junkyard, okay? Which is kind of funny. They start talking about Nancy now, okay?
We used to do that when I was a kid.
Play golf in a junkyard?
There was a car junkyard in the back of this park I used to live in, and we used to go fucking hit golf balls at the cars.
That's awesome. I live in a forest. I mean, I'm surrounded by forests, so we just hit golf balls into the forest in our backyard. So
we used to do that too, but there was a junkyard full of cars.
Right. It must be gratifying though to hear that glass smashing. So
absolutely.
I like that sound. Anyway, so Jonathan starts saying that he expected Nancy to come with Mike and say surprise, but he's kind of relieved that she didn't. Argyle is blaming it on the weed strain that they're smoking. Jonathan's like, if I show you something, you won't tell. And Argyle's like, no, you're like my only friend. Like, I love him. So Jonathan shows him an acceptance letter to Lenora College. And it's not Nancy's college. He was supposed to go to Nancy's college, but he got accepted to that college. And he said he can't find it in himself to leave Joyce and Will so that he can go be with Nancy. He doesn't want to tell Nancy the truth or she'll ditch him. Or she'll ditch her dreams to go join him.
Mm-hmm.
And then she'll resent him, and then she'll hate him, and then she'll divorce him. And it's
what I got out of that was you can't study journalism in California.
No, Nancy doesn't want to go to California. She wants to go to she's in that Ivy League college.
No, I get that, but I mean, she's just going to study journalism. You can do that at a community college,
Well, yeah, but Nancy, she's got a little bit of Karen in her where she's
I'm aware.
Yeah.
I'm aware. Mm-hmm. She's one of my least favorite characters in this show.
Who, Karen?
No, Nancy.
Oh, I thought you liked Nancy in the first season.
No, I don't care for her at all.
Oh, gotcha. So Jonathan's like, I don't know what to do, and Argyle's like, so what? You're going to slow-mo break up with her? And Jonathan's like, I guess. And Argyle's like, no, man, you can't do that. And Jonathan's like, well, what do I do? And Argyle's like, Palm Tree Delight right now. It's in my van. Go.
I don't remember anybody when we were young having such a firm grasp on what it is that they're smoking.
Well, they're in California, so, they probably get it shipped right from Mexico.
I guess, but I mean, most of the time, weed was just weed. You got what was around.
Back in the 90s, because, I was too young to even know what weed was in the mid 80s, but in the 90s, you either got a really good strain or you got brickweed.
Mm-hmm. So,
yep. And they all had stems and seeds in them.
Yep. They had to do the work.
Because somebody told me once upon a time. So, because I was a good girl.
When I started smoking, you had to do the work. You had to break up your own shit.
Yep.
Anyway,
and that's not the way it is now.
No.
Man, kids these days are so fucking spoiled. They go and steal their parents' weed. They don't have to do shit to it. They just put it in a pipe and smoke it. Anyway. So now all of a sudden we're back at the skating rink and we hear Tarzan Boy by Baltimora, which that song, I either like it or it annoys me. So
I mostly don't like it.
One. Yeah. Will, Elle, and Mike are drinking milkshakes, Enter Angela, that little bitch. Introductions are made. Mike, because Elle is still faking it. Mike's like, oh, I heard a lot about you. It's really cool to meet Elle's friends. I mean Jane's friends. And Angela's like, let's go skating, friend. And pulls Elle onto the rink. You see her dickhead friend pull out a movie camera. Will knows something's going to go down. And Will's like, oh, shit. Will confesses to Mike that Elle's been lying to him for the past several months. That she's got all these friends, but she really doesn't. Elle is in the middle of the skating rink and the music stops and the spotlight shines on her. And the DJ says that this request goes out to Jane, and it's Wipeout by the Safaris.
Do you remember going to the skating rink and then playing that song? And then when they stop, everybody's supposed to fall down?
Yeah. Yeah. I was a good skater. She was a
skater girl.
I tried skateboarding, but I lived on a dirt road, so I wasn't very good at it. It was a dirt road. It was a lot of rocks. So anyway, so Angela and her bitches start forming a circle and skating around Elle, and they're calling her a freak, a loser, a baby, telling her to go home. Ella's cuffing her ears with her hands. Mike is pissed. He goes over to the DJ and tells him to turn off the music. The DJ's like, oh, I can't hear you. And Mike's like, turn off the fucking music. Well, he doesn't say fucking, but turn off the music. The music cuts. DJ screams out, Wipeout. And a guy throws Elle's chocolate shake all over her dress. Elle falls down. Everybody's laughing. Mike tries to skate out to Elle. He gets blocked, by everybody else laughing at her in the circle. That part pissed me off. I didn't like that.
I don't appreciate none of it. I get triggered when I see kids getting bullied.
Mm-hmm.
Both for myself and for what I saw other kids going through.
Yeah. I was called a loser. I was called names. I never cried, though. I wasn't like Elle. I never cried. And I never got a drink thrown on me, but most of the time, I had this really big hair, and it was permed and curly and everything, and people used to spit spitballs in it all the time, and they'd get stuck because my hair was so thick. So I flashed back to that. Assholes.
Yucky.
Yeah, it was gross. It really was gross. Anyway, okay, we've got about 25 minutes roughly. Can I do it? I gotta go faster. Murray and Joyce. Okay, Murray breaks out his computer to make a call from North Carolina to Enzo. The KGB could still trace it eventually, so they need to keep it brief. Okay. They're recording. The phone number goes to a payphone in Russia. They're speaking Russian. Enzo says, if you'd like to make a reservation, we need a deposit of $40,000. He is a Russian guy, by the way. He tells Joyce that Hopper has it in his trust for the girl. Bring it to Yuri's Fish and Fly in Nome, Alaska, okay, which is right on the Bering Sea, right across from Russia. So it's that close to it. When Yuri gets the money, Yuri will give the guy the money, and then he will give Joyce her friend. Joyce is like, first we need to speak to Hopper to make sure he's alive. And he's like, that's not possible. Your friend is stuck. Trust me, $40,000. You got 2 days, Nome, Alaska. Don't call here again. And click. He's not the KGB, but he's definitely not a friend. They don't know who he is, but they know that Hopper's still alive. We now flash over to Hopper, who's getting beat again.
To be fair, he's got it coming.
Hopper?
I'm just fucking with you.
Nuh-uh.
You're really easy to distract, is what I'm saying.
Seriously, that's true. The Russian doctor comes in and says if he gets beaten anymore, he's going to die. So they're going to send him away to Kamchatka, which flashes me back to Risk, because I played Risk all the time. I was that nerd.
It's cold there.
Yeah. They drag Hopper away. It is snowing. He doesn't deserve the peace of death. So
yeah, I was like, what the fuck
hell.
did he do?
Yeah, right?
Like they found him and they were like, well, you were here when this happened, so it must be your fault.
Yeah, those fuckers. We flash over to an army chopper that is landing in a field surrounded by forest in the middle of nowhere. He's met by 3 army guys and they say, Lieutenant Colonel, welcome to Indiana. So we know that, you know, he's got to be in Hawkins. We flash over to Jason, the jock dick, talking to the basketball team. They're still at Benny's, okay? They're looking at pictures of Eddie. He's trying to hype them all up. Chrissy went to him to buy drugs, you know. But now we're flashing back and forth from the basketball team to the lieutenant colonel who's in a morgue, possibly an army morgue, military morgue. I don't know. I'm just assuming that. But
I assumed it was in the facility.
Yeah.
What do they call that? The science facility thing.
The lab?
Yeah.
The old lab. They're taking pictures. She's got warped fingers. Like her fingers are broken in ways that don't look humanly possible. Jason's talking. Chrissy would never touch that piece of shit, you know, talking about Eddie. They wouldn't even show her parents her face. You know, what did he do to her? And we flash over to Chrissy's face. Her mouth is like wide open, like frozen, insanely like broken jaw wide open. Jason saying, I don't know what Eddie did, but he did something sick, you know, sacrificed her to the devil. We flash over to Christy. She's got no eyeballs and there's blood around her bottom eyelids. And Jason's going on, you know, him and his saint and his cult. Lucas is
a dickhole.
Yeah. Lucas is like, oh, Hellfire isn't a cult. You know, everyone turns around and looks at Lucas. You know, he's like, it's just a D&D club. The jocks have no clue what D&D is. So Lucas tries to explain the game. And they're like, Lucas, how do you know all this? You know, and he's like, oh, my little sister's a nerd and she plays the game. So it's like, dude, you threw your sister under the bus so that you could look cool. That wasn't cool.
Yeah, but that seems logical for that, especially for that time period.
Yeah.
Because there was no walking between both worlds. Like you were one or you were the other.
Yeah. So Jason's up on his soapbox, you know, the wrong person confuses fantasy with reality. It's becoming an epidemic in this country. Kids, you know, somebody's like, yeah, I've seen it on the news, and another one's like, yeah, I've been reading about that. That's exactly what happens. And Eddie's just a psycho killer.
Psycho killer.
And then we hear psycho killer.
Yeah. Run away.
Yeah. Talking heads, baby.
Mm-hmm. That's the good shit.
Yeah. And then Jason rallies the team for Chrissy. And the jocks all get jockey. And now we're back over to Dustin and Max and Robin. They're all going down the, you know, the friends list. And they're all calling Eddie's friends looking for him. Steve is still running the store. And of course, he tries to pick up a chick by offering her the romantic movie of Dr. Zhivago, which Robin wanted to watch, that Steve was against. And, but this little chickie's bringing it home to her boyfriend. So Steve strikes out. Max might have a lead. Eddie might be with Reefer Rick, but we don't know Rick's last name or where he lives or even a phone number. Nothing. Nobody knows who Reefer Rick is. The cops might know. Like, Steve, you dumb ass. You really going to ask the cops? You got to keep the cops out of this. Robin, who is smart as fuck, goes over to the computer and she looks up all the Ricks that have memberships in the video store. Okay. And then she starts going through what they've rented lately. She's going through every single Rick. And then finally, Rick Lipton had just recently rented Fast Times at Ridgemont High and all the Cheech and Chong movies. So, yeah. That's got to be Reefer Rick. So they pull his address and they close the store up and they leave. We flash over to Nancy. She's knocking on an RV. She's trying to get, interviews with people. Nobody wants to talk to her. She's striking out all over the place. She meets up with Freddie. Freddie's striking out all over the place too. Nancy sees Eddie's uncle and she goes over to talk to him. Eddie's uncle's like, I'm not a gossip and I'm not gossiping to you. You could just go fuck off now. Nancy starts putting down the Hawkins Post because they were the last people to try to interview Eddie's uncle. And he starts looking a certain way. And Nancy's like, let me tell your side of the story. Uncle Wayne. His name is Wayne.
Wayne.
We got a name. Uncle Wayne. And while Nancy is talking to Uncle Wayne, Freddie notices the dog barking and he starts hearing a clock chiming and weird noises out in the woods. Wayne speaks to Nancy about it. Not being Eddie's nature to kill someone, he would, no matter what anybody says, the person who did this is pure evil. And he starts talking about Victor Creel. Back when Nancy was a child, Victor Creel killed his whole entire family, and he's currently locked up in Pennhurst Asylum. All of this discussion is going on while Freddie is watching laundry flying in the wind, and he starts walking into a forest. Freddie is now in the woods. Maybe Victor broke out of Pennhurst Asylum is what the uncle is, alluding to. Mm-hmm. Freddie finds a grandfather clock laying down on top of a coffin in the middle of the woods. The clock is still ticking, even though it's on its back. Uncle Wayne starts comparing Victor to Michael Myers, and he's a real, honest to God boogeyman. Nancy looks up, the dog's barking, and Freddie is gone. She's calling Freddie, but Freddie's in the woods, and now he's surrounded by these crying mourners dressed in black. Mm-hmm. And a little girl points at him, and the finger grows into this claw of a finger. And she calls him a murderer. All the other mourners pick up their heads. Their eyes are all milky. None of them have noses. And they're all calling him a murderer. And he runs deeper into the woods.
What do you think the odds are that Victor is Vecna?
That's a good one. Because up until now, I was like, maybe he's possessed by Vecna. But what if he is Vecna?
Yeah, what if he died and
God, that's good.
He is this dude.
That's really good. I like that.
Now we've seen two of these bodies that he's killed, and the eyes are plucked out of both of them.
Yeah. We flash over to Hopper.
Oh, one more thing though.
Yeah.
What if it wasn't Victor that killed him? What if it was Vecna, and Victor took the rap for it?
Oh, now we have 3 theories.
Yeah, so then maybe in one of these future episodes, they go talk to Victor. Victor's like, I didn't fucking kill him.
Of course, Nancy would do that, the reporter. She would definitely do that.
Yeah. All right, carry on. Sorry to interrupt again.
Not a problem. No, I'm glad you did.
No. I seen the look on your face, and you're fucking mad.
No, I'm not.
Don't yell at me with your face again.
I'm not. Hopper gets his head shaved, okay? He's bloody and bruised. And we see naked Hopper, but we don't see anything because he's getting sprayed with a giant.
And you were sad.
Yeah, a little bit. Come on. Anyway, they dressed
Hopper
up.
booty.
Yeah, I know. We didn't even see that. It was all blurred out by the stupid water. Fucking water. He's dressed up in a Russian uniform now, standing in a line full of people. In Russian, they're being told it would be foolish for you to escape. No second chances. They go up to Hopper and speak English to him and say, "You run, you die." That's all we see about that, because now Joyce and Murray are analyzing Enzo's call. Joyce hears that the Russian woman who is trying to get Enzo off the phone, she wants Murray to translate that, but he can't hear it very well. So she takes out the tape, she brings it into Jonathan's room and turns up the stereo for him. It turns out that lady was calling the guy Musar, which is slang for like cops or guards, like we would call slang pigs. They would call them Musars. Hopper was placed in his cell now. He's in solitary confinement. Enzo must be a prison guard. Okay. Joyce leaves for the bank. We have 9 minutes. Okay, I could do this.
8.
Shit. Okay, we're at the roller rink. Okay, Mike is looking for Elle in the girls' bathroom, gets yelled at. Elle is actually crying in the broom closet, and she hears Angela and everybody making fun of her. She gets all pissy, and in a moment of bravery, she walks out and no. Okay, I skipped ahead too fast. Okay. Will is talking to Mike about how, like,
right.
I'm a third wheel here. And Mike's like, you're allowing this to happen. And Will is like, you haven't talked to me since I left, like, I thought we were best friends here.
Mm-hmm. And Will's like, I was trying to give you the dick.
Yeah. So Mike's like, let's just go for Elle. Now Elle is crying in the broom closet. Okay, the assholes are all making fun of her. She leaves the room. She's all pissy and everything, and she walks over and she's like, that was not okay. You need to apologize to me, and can you please tell Mike that we're friends? And Angela just laughs and makes fun of her, and the whole crowd laughs, and they go skating away. So Elle gets a skate out of some kid's hand and rolls up to Angela and, hey, Angela, and like smashes her fucking nose in with the fucking skate.
I was like, yes.
Yes. I was like, yes, but oh fuck at the same time.
Fuck the mean girl.
And Mike's like, what did you do? And there's like blood pouring down Angela's face. And there's blood all over the skate. And then Elle goes into a flashback of Papa with episode 1 of season 4. So like, holy fuck. We're with Dustin, Steve, Robin, and Max now at Reefer Rick's house, and nobody's answering the door, but they notice that there's a shed in the back, so they go in there. They break inside the shed to investigate. It looks like a fishing shed. There's nets, there's tools, there's boat oars. Steve takes a boat oar. He starts stabbing a tarp, thinking that somebody's hiding under it.
Right.
Dustin's like, why don't you just take the tarp off? Max hears creaking. She finds freshly drank beers, candy wrappers, and Steve is still stabbing the tarp, and Eddie fucking jumps out of the tarp, and he's like holding a broken beer bottle up to his chin, and Dustin has to talk him off the ledge, like, we're here for you, we're friends, that's Steve, we're friends. They all introduce themselves to him. Eddie finally takes the bottle away. He looks like he's in shock. They're like, you need to talk to us. We're here to help you. And he's like, you'll never believe me. And Max is like, try us.
I want to know where this giant lake is that they're fucking net fishing on in Indiana.
Yeah, right.
Indiana has dirt, and there's dirt around it.
Dirt, lots of dirt, and forests, and fields,
and dirt.
And dirt. Wait, there is one lake though, because I remember last season when they were doing the tunnels and making the maps and stuff. There's one lake.
Well, they have lakes, but to be going net fishing, like
yeah.
Anyway, you got fucking 3 minutes.
Okay, nighttime at the trailer park. Nancy's still looking for Freddie boy, okay? Nancy goes to the cop and says, my friend is gone, okay? Freddie is running through the forest. He reaches the road. He sees a flipped over car, okay? And it's on fire. We're flashing back and forth now between Freddie and Eddie. Eddie is crying. He's whimpering. He describes what happened. He ran away and left Chrissy there. You think I'm crazy, right? And Dustin's like, no, we believe you. And you know how they say Hawkins is cursed? They're not way off, okay? We see Freddie walking towards the car that's on fire while Dustin is talking. Another world hidden beneath Hawkins, he starts describing everything down there. It's bleeding into ours sometimes. Freddie sees a body crawling out of the car. Okay. It's crawling towards him and it's screaming for help. It kind of looks like Fred. Fred falls backwards into a hole. It's not a hole. It's a fucking grave. Okay. There's a headstone up there. He looks over to the side. There's a dead body there with fucking spiders coming out of the eyeballs. Fuck a spider. Camera pans out. Yep, he's in a grave. Dustin is talking about monsters. Max is saying if those monsters are back again, we need to know. Flash over to the grave. There's a tunnel in the grave. There's a humanoid coming down the hallway tunnel. It's calling out Freddie's name. Robin's like, did you see anything? Max is like, dark particles. Creature moves closer to Freddie. Dustin swirling dust. It doesn't pinch his butt. Eddie's like, nothing you can see or touch. This creature in front of Freddie says, Freddie's like, what do you want? It's the Vecna. I want you to join me. Fred's in the middle of an empty, dark road now in real life, and he's levitating. His eyes roll in the back of his head. Eddie says how he tried to wake up Chrissy out of a trance. It's like she was under a spell or a curse. Vecna's curse. Okay. Vecna is an undead creature of great power. Freddie falls dead on the road. Okay. Because Vecna just ate him or did whatever he does with, his body parts are twisted and ew. Vecna's a dark wizard in an abandoned house. And
1 minute.
We see cords of flesh. Vecna's up in the air and the cords just gently start putting him down on the ground and they're letting go. And the camera pans out and it's this mansion and it's nighttime and there's like weird bat things. Bat things are just circling over the house. The end. I did it.
You did great. Thanks for joining us, guys. We'll see you in
a couple weeks. Bye.